Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Friday Live at the OHbaby offices. I'm Ellie. I've switched sides of the table, so don't get confused. I'm over here today, and I'd like to introduce you to Grace Nixon and Jo Robertson, who are joining us this morning for what will be a fascinating discussion on all things parenting related, but especially the antenatal education that is so important to new parents, figuring out what the heck birth and babies is all about, and then what happens afterwards, because Jo and Grace organise and run antenatal classes called Practical Parenting Antenatal, and it's new and it's exciting, and they're here to talk to us this morning. So welcome, it's great to have you along. You can ask them a question if you want by commenting underneath the video. We'd love to hear from you, but we're just going to have a chat. So welcome, ladies. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's fun.
And I'll tell you a little bit about these amazing people. Grace is actually also known as the Baby Lady. You've got a business, haven't you, Grace?
Yes,
what do you do with your time when you're not visiting us in the OHbaby office?
So I used to be a midwife, and now I have a business where I help new parents buy all their baby products.
Yes.
Because you go into the shop and there's like 100 million options.
It's so confusing.
What do you choose? So
Yeah.
I use my experience. I was a baby nanny for 10 years, so I've used a lot of the products, and then as a midwife, and so just talk to my families I work with and decide on their lifestyles and what products would suit them, what they do and don't need, what budgets they have and things like that. So super fun.
So good, super fun. Basically, professional shopping and advising in the baby world, because it's pretty confusing, and it's so helpful because it's quite bewildering to a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah, it really is. So it's really fun.
And Jo, so good to have you with us, Jo Robertson. Jo is a counsellor and works in sexual health and relationships, and you've done a lot of speaking. You've got a lot of wisdom on the topic of relationships, and 2 young children yourself. So it's so good to have you guys here today. But basically, why we brought Grace and Jo in today, they've started up antenatal classes, Practical Parenting Antenatal, with a focus that is 50% pre-baby and 50% after, because let's be honest, life after baby is quite different and quite not shocking, that's a bit harsh, but life-changing for people. Surprise! Your life will never be the same. And so how do you guys, you're really passionate about preparing people for some of those changes. What led you to establish this new business together?
I think antenatal education is almost being made redundant by Google.
Right.
I think what we see a lot is that especially pregnant mums are on apps, they're on Facebook groups, they're asking questions of the internet, and so they're becoming really informed, but that's not necessarily translating into their relationship. And they mostly get informed about the birth.
Yes.
And so what we're really passionate about seeing is antenatal conversations.
Yes.
Where they get to come into this really safe space, ask questions of us, but also ask questions within their relationship. And so that they leave not only kind of more educated, but more as a team.
Yes.
So that's a really core focus, and I think we would be doing a disservice to the parents if we only focused on that first 24 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is what most antenatal classes do.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of time talking about actual birth, and whatever's going to happen on the day is going to happen. You don't really get to decide. So it's good to be informed of all those options and things like that. But so we really heaps on the practical. So Jo does a lot of the relationship side of things. I do a lot of the practical on like how to bath a baby, how to change a nappy, what do you expect in terms of their sleeping, and routines versus demand parenting or whatever. So we have a lot of discussions around that kind of thing, and it's none of our opinions, it's more just a platform for people to discuss and how they want to parent, and
so good.
And
do you think, like, in general, we're coming to parenting perhaps later in life, women are coming out of maybe they've been in a career for a lot longer than our mothers or grandmothers' generations, and it's quite a different experience for parents today, do you think, coming into the baby years?
And I think the nature of how we do life at the moment is very much in isolation.
Yes.
And so previously we lived in closer communities. You know, you might have lived closer to family, and your mum and your grandma and your aunties may have been more involved, and there would have been more conversation.
Yeah.
But now we don't really do that as much, and so we do wait later, and that's fine. But we're not talking.
Yes.
So we're kind of just left in our houses by ourselves.
And it can be very isolating.
And we're left going, what's normal? And all we're kind of contrasting to is what we see on Facebook, which is a lot of joy and happiness and
highlight reel.
And I think a lot of new mums particularly are sitting there going, what? Like my life doesn't feel like your picture. And maybe that makes me abnormal.
Yes. So true. So how do you think parents can better prepare then? I mean, you said that antenatal education is so important and perhaps being lost a little bit in this information saturated world. What other ways that you think parents could be better prepared for parenthood?
Yeah, so for parenthood, I think there's lots of practical things you can do before baby comes to be prepared, like having those conversations with your partner and your family, and like practical things like having lots of food in your freezer. And
in fact, good segue, Grace, because in the next issue of OHbaby magazine, summer issue, on sale on Monday, Grace has written an article, haven't you, on things that you can do to prepare for baby, things to do on maternity leave. There's some great practical tips in there. That's just a little plug. Casually slip in there.
A little taster.
But that could be an issue. You come on maternity leave with your first baby, and if you're lucky enough to have a week or two at home, what should I do? I watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy on demand and lay on the couch. So it was nice, but I'm not sure how prepared I was.
I watched so much One Born every minute.
Yes.
Yeah, just on repeat.
Right,
And pros and cons to that. I learned a lot about the United Kingdom,
the British
public health
maternity system.
And not as much about the New Zealand one. And how a New Zealand hospital might run. So that's really, like, Grace does a lot of that, what happens when you turn up to a hospital to birth care, what's it going to look like, and what are some of the different pain management options, and
even things like, where do you park? Like, where do you go once you get there? And like different, what if there's traffic? Do you have an alternative route to get there?
What should you have in your car?
When should you have your bag packed?
And we have all the ideals ready, don't we? But chances are it's not going to go to plan, or it's not going to go ideally. You might go into labour weeks early, and where do we park? That's a good question.
I mean, I've had 2 kids, and honestly, I'm still learning from Grace. Like, I'm so impressed by her knowledge. And it's true. Like, she's spent so much time with families, new families, and little kids. And I'm constantly like, oh, that's a good tip for me. And oh, that's actually a really good way to put furniture in a bedroom, so it's actually more functional for me in the middle of the night. I find that stuff really helpful.
And I think that's such a good point. We're, as the parents ourselves, so in the zone, we need that fresh perspective sometimes to go, rearrange that chair, and you'll actually
that just comes from experiencing so many different things too. You pick up a good thing.
So true. What pitfalls do you think parents need to be aware of? Some things that could help. If you're aware, if your expectations are more realistic, could help with the whole diving into parenthood. You mentioned comparisons before. We do a lot of that as humans, don't we?
I think one of the biggest pitfalls is guilt.
Right,
I think that starts from the moment we are trying to get pregnant. Guilt that we waited too long and it's not happening as quickly, or guilt that our bodies aren't functioning the way other people's are, and then guilt that we had what people term a bad labour. We use if we use pain management, and so there's
mother guilt. It's crippling.
Mother guilt is
so prevalent.
Like, are you gonna go back to work and feeling guilty about that, and then you stay at home and you've lost your career and guilt about that. And so a pitfall is actually just how we feel constantly. And I'd like to think that in our classes we actually address some of that and tell yourself the truth. You know, that there is no right way to birth and there's no right way to parent.
That's right.
Exactly.
So that you don't need to contrast and go, oh, I'm worse.
So true.
Having, in terms of like actual birth, having no plan is the best plan.
Do you think?
Yeah. Because there's no, there's no pressure on you. There's no expectation on you. You just gotta be open to whatever's gonna happen, because whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
You don't have a lot of control over it. So, but if you're stressing out one way, and then that's where people get that I failed because I didn't go this way. So we have a lot of discussions about that in our class too. You know, your ideals and your
what's your biggest fear about labour and parenting, and then kind of going, okay, what if that actually happens? And how am I going to deal with that emotionally, and how is my partner going to help support me in that?
I remember thinking, I could have a great positive attitude, was going to be helpful. I felt it was going to be helpful, and I think it was, but I also had to have that resolve that at the end of the day I was in good hands, and I had to just go with it. What would be, and trust the medical staff around me, and because worry is so debilitating, isn't it? And fear.
Exactly.
We can't focus on, I guess I get worried for new mums particularly that they focus on what could go wrong, rather than all the good things that will happen. You know, no matter what happens in the labour, you will get your baby. And if we focus on that, then any labour story becomes positive.
That's right. Keep your eye on the prize. I remember my best friend texted me that when she was pretty sure that I must be in labour, because I was ignoring her calls. I don't know why, but she just said, keep your eye on the prize. A sticky little gwillem. And I thought, it's quite gross, but true. I was going to have a little,
it kind of sounds like a sticky little golem. So
golem,
hopefully not. I mean,
that's
hopefully whatever happens.
It's Welsh, okay. But it was so helpful. Keep your eye on the prize, and it's worth it.
It's a funny pain, because it's like most pain in your life is that.
You
know, like, and then you're in hospital. You know, you're there for a not a good reason. But this is like, it's all a good reason. It's for great.
It's pain with a purpose.
It is. It's very positive.
So it's okay if you
don't
like
inspiring.
It is okay if you don't like it. Who likes it?
No one likes it.
Nobody likes it. But it has a good ending.
It has a good ending. What else do you think can happen after baby that can be real kind of curveballs for parents, for couples in their relationship? What are some of the surprises that you've observed that we could be better prepared for?
I mean, I think a big one is expectations. So of each other. So I think we don't. I mean, we might every once in a while throw a comment to our partner and like, oh, you know, you're going to help with the nappies, or a dad might say like, oh, it's, you know, I'm not going to be able to get home till 7, so how are you going to manage that? They're kind of these throwaway comments, but we don't really have discussions around, you know, what are you hoping for in that first even 3 months? Or even just the first week in hospital, are you hoping to be really engaged? Or even asking mum, like, how much are you hoping to sleep? And how can we make that happen? I think we just don't have robust conversations. And therefore we get to the moment and maybe dad's not helping that much, or maybe mum does want to sleep more, maybe mum wants to go back to work, and we're not prepared in our relationship. Do you encourage people to like even write things down, their sort of aspirations, or?
Yes. So Jo runs an amazing session in our classes, and it's quite a lot, you know, lots of couple focused discussions that she facilitates, which are amazing. Like really super practical things that people really need to talk about before they have their baby. Things that I'd never thought about, which are amazing. We learn off each other.
We do actually.
Oh, you guys are a great team, really.
I think one of the bonuses of our course, you know, I will unashamedly promo it. And about but I think you get 2 people. And you get 2 really different strengths.
Yes.
And I noticed that in every class we've done is you know, Grace will say something and then I'll say another part of that, and then you get a really holistic perspective.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, you're not just getting one person's ideas.
Yeah.
And we at all moments actually we really try and go, okay, what's the whole picture here?
Yes.
And how can we both bring that?
Yeah. Because we do have such different experiences.
Yeah.
And we bring two different aspects to it, which is really cool.
Yeah. And let's talk about shopping for a bit, because that's always fun. And you work with parents who are expecting, and they come to you, what do I buy? Yeah. Basically, they're bewildered by the baby stores, which I think is common.
Have to spend.
You know, before children, you walk into one of those places, and that is another world, really.
It is another world.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the things that we tick off first are the big ticket items.
Right.
So where's the baby going to sleep? Like, how are you going to, like, car seat, travel around with that?
Yeah.
And then most people would like to have a pram.
Yeah.
And so then we talk about budget, and then what is important in each of those things for them. So, like with the car seat, Jo and I actually have differing opinions on what's important in the car seat. So you can hire them.
Yes.
And Jo's opinion is just hire it because they grow out of
it.
Relatively quickly.
Yeah.
My opinion is that I think it's the most important piece of safety equipment you could possibly buy your child.
Yeah.
So I'm go for the most expensive that you can.
Yeah.
I'm all about risk, just throw them in there and see what happens.
We never had car seats. No, don't do that. Don't listen to that flippant comment. Car seats, very important. Yeah.
Very important. Yeah. So, but then so it's totally we just have these discussions and it's up to them, and so they know their options.
Yeah. And it's quite hard for a new parent, a pregnant person who hasn't had children, to go, I've got to get the car seat decided upon, purchased and installed before I've even seen my child, and that's that's quite intimidating.
Yeah, you do have to have
you
it
need grace
in the car
at that moment. You need to have it in the car, properly installed.
Before you can leave the hospital.
That's right. Yeah.
So I've been to many a birth where it hasn't been in the car.
Right.
And the poor dad has had to go in the middle of the night home to get it.
Oh, that's a stressful moment.
So just remember to put it in.
Yeah. And if you are completely confused by the instructions, which is common, probably, you can go and get help.
You can.
Whether from an installer.
Plunkett.
Plunkett will help you out there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's actually really important to have it properly installed into your car.
That's so true. Yeah.
But we also, like, with the shopping side of it, our last session that we did just last week was we got all the swaddles out on the table.
Yeah.
And all the different styles. And in my antenatal class, we just did the muslin.
Yeah.
This is how you swaddle a baby with a piece of muslin cloth.
Like, you need a degree in origami, and then you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your baby basically needs to not move.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I really enjoy that, as we put everything on the table, and the expectant parents, get to actually try it.
Yes, such a good idea.
Yeah, and then they go, this has this feature and that has that feature, and my house is actually a bit cold, so I'm going to get that, fabric rather than that one.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you have power to make decisions.
You're really empowering people's decision making.
Yeah. Rather than going into the store and going, I'm just going to assume because everybody else does this, that's what I should do.
And that one's on sale.
Yeah.
True, it was actually amazing.
Yeah, really good. I feel like coming to your course.
You should. It's actually fun.
Yeah.
It's a really big value of ours. We're like, hey, everything has to be fun.
Yeah.
Because that's the best learning environment.
And I think that's such a good point, because parenting, especially early parenting, there's some aspects that aren't that fun, and we can get quite down about it. But we need to still celebrate and enjoy the craziness. Yeah.
And surely if you're going to spend, what we do, 8 hours, but some antenatal classes are, 15 hours.
Yeah.
And surely if you're spending that much time with your partner and talking about your future parenting, surely you should have a good time.
Yes.
I mean, otherwise you're falling asleep and you're not even listening.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so regularly we're like, that wasn't interesting enough. Yeah. That wasn't interactive enough. Well, people didn't seem that engaged, and so we really need to change it.
We need to mix it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy some more chocolate biscuits.
We do
actually
chocolate biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's key. Not really a sugar-free environment.
No.
Although we can do that if that's what you're into.
Yeah, that's what you need. Yeah. Yeah. I had another question before we finish. Where did it go? What do you think new parents need more of? We've talked about encouragement. We've talked about realistic expectations and the awareness that mother guilt can settle in and be really crippling. Yeah. Is there any other things that you could offer to new parents watching right now going, it's actually overwhelming? Yeah.
I think there's a really big trend at the moment to be solely focused on the baby.
Yeah.
And so it's completely, everything in life or everything in your relationship or in your parenting is about the baby.
Yeah.
And I understand that,
yeah.
and I can see its value, and definitely the baby is really important.
Yeah.
But so is your relationship.
Yes.
And so is your lifestyle. Not
yes.
Lifestyle.
It's going to change, but you're still important as a person.
And so your mental health and your well-being and your sense of enjoyment in life, and those things are really important. And what we've done is we've gone, mum, dad, baby, and we've put all the focus on baby, and we've forgotten about mum and dad. Like actually they're important. So I think for me, I just like to see more power given to parents, that they're really significant.
Yes. So true. So good. What else? I was having something else as well I was thinking about.
It's fine if you don't.
You just keep talking. Just keep talking. Yeah. And so your classes, they are Auckland based at the moment. Are you going to go national, international with it?
Yeah, we're going next step, Thailand. Which is really going to do that. Yeah. No, I think we've actually
actually be everywhere at once. So I've discovered.
We've had some interest from other centres around New Zealand, particularly North Island, and I'm really encouraged by that. Yeah. And so for me, if we've got something that's helpful for parents, we'll go where it's needed.
Yeah. But you are starting another course in February. That's right? Yeah. And Grace and Jo very kindly offered to give away attendance to that course. What would we call that? Attendance. Yeah. A ticket to come. A ticket to come and be a part of the Practical Parenting Antenatal class. So if you are expecting a baby and around February you'd be looking at doing some antenatal education, watch this space because we're going to give away a ticket, a golden ticket. It's not really the right word, is it? But attendance at one of Grace and Jo's courses. It's a 6-week course. 4. Yeah. 4. Efficient. So efficient. Yeah.
6 weeks is a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah. I just pulled that number out of the air. But we're going to give that away on our OHbaby.co.nz site. So watch this space. We'll put a comment underneath so you can find that and enter if that is relevant and timely for you.
Yeah. And it will be fun.
It will definitely be relevant and fun. Yeah. Just the timing of which, yes, if you're having a baby, maybe March, April.
Yeah,
how far out do you recommend people have their or take part in some antenatal education?
Yeah, so before 20 weeks, you want to be
booking it. Yeah.
And then if you're due in June, then you come to our April.
Okay. So a couple of months out. So you've got time to process and digest all the information. Yeah.
And you might have an early baby.
Yes.
Exactly. We don't want it too close in case.
That's true. In case you have to leave one of the classes because your waters have broken. But if that did happen, you'd be in good hands.
We did have that conversation, not this month but last month. To the dads particularly. We're like, okay. Yeah. Right now, what would you do? Yeah. On a very practical level. Yeah. And they had to kind of click it and go, oh yeah. This
is actually going to happen.
I will maybe be the only person around. And how will I help my partner?
Do you know, I remember Josh when I was in labour with our first baby. I remember him reading the notes from the antenatal class while I was labouring in the other room. And that was potentially a little bit disconcerting. But I was encouraged because he'd come back with useful tips.
Good. Yeah.
Between contractions.
Encouraging inspirational moments. He'd come in and bring me some information.
That's good.
Yeah, he'd tell me, you've got this much to go or whatever. I didn't even care if it was true or not. It was encouraging.
True. Yeah.
But dads, read your notes before your partner's in labour. That would be ideal. What do you think? Here's a good question. What has surprised you about some of the dads' expectations if they, go with the dads? But has there been some...
Their expectations? Well, I think the great thing about our course, again, an unashamable plug, is that we get our dads really involved. With a lot of antenatal classes, because it's so birth focused, it's all on mum. But because we're heaps more practical, we get our dads really involved. So I think that they really are quite engaged in it. But,
and they want information. Like we all want information. This is such an exciting time of life. We're hungry for information. It's just being in the right place to actually receive and process. And
the dads, in feedback, the dads are often the ones who say, actually, I really liked learning about the swaddles and learning about the nappies and learning about bathing and stuff, because they go, that could be me, and this is how I could help. I think most dads that we've seen, they do want to help. They're just like, what am I supposed to do?
Be empowered to help.
If it's all about breastfeeding, then where is my role in this parenting thing? And so we really challenge that. And they have to take a big role in the classes even. They do a lot of the role playing or the practicing themselves, making up the beds. And I think some of them get a little bit of a shock, like maybe they've not fully had to think about it, but once you say, hey, you're a team, then they do go, okay, for the sake of the child, I'm fully in. And we have a 20-minute video just for dads.
Really?
That we get. We've got a couple of guys who share their experiences, and that's purely dad focused.
That's really great.
So good. Yeah. Oh, well done, ladies. It's so good to know that there's people out there so passionate about helping new parents with this amazing journey of parenting. And so thank you for joining us this morning on Friday Live. You're welcome. Watch this space. We're going to let you know how you could win for yourself attendance at Jo and Grace's Practical Parenting Antenatal classes in February. And also remember the OHbaby summer issue is on sale on Monday. There's an article from Grace about preparing for baby, what to do on maternity leave. There's also a great article on mother guilt. We've talked about that a bit this morning. It is a huge issue, so consuming and potentially derailing for mums. So get your hands on OHbaby summer issue on sale on Monday, or subscribe. That's a good idea, isn't it, as well? Subscribe and you'll get your copy in time. You don't have to go shopping. Get it for a present, a Christmas present.
Great idea.
Get organised. Thank you for joining us for Friday Live this morning. Have a great weekend and we'll see you next week.